Good morning, gang. Joyce is Skipping Calves Farms here. Brrr, it's been cold. The sun's finally coming out for a little bit today. It's supposed to be mostly cloudy, but my goodness, that sun does feel warm. I've still got gloves on, and um, if the video seems short, it's because my hands are freezing. um, but I just was sitting here, and I'm in the process of setting up a new fence. So they were in this far area here. I took up that fence that I had around the sour oranges. So it freed up a reel for me, and I've got see if I can see this here. The reels are over here, and they come and do the double on the outside that's across there and then comes up here. Okay, now that's the front. That's the front, and they've grazed behind it. Now what I'm going to do is take a separate two reels and come and do another double here and then up here, even with the edge of the sheepfold. And then I will subdivide it as I've done over here. Now, basically what they got this morning was a new a little 12-foot section. Depending upon how much actual forage they have access to this morning, I may give them another 12-foot section this afternoon. But that last little bit down there at the end is the most lush. And so I don't mind if they back graze this way, but I didn't want them to overgraze down here. But I want them to give it a good graze. So they'll be a little hungry going into it. So far I've been pretty pleased. There's a certain kind of grass. I don't have any right here where I'm standing. I'm surrounded by warm seasons and fescue, but there's a narrower bladed grass. Let me see if I can zoom back out just a little bit. That's this stuff right there. And that's all over that section of the pasture. It's a narrower bladed grass, and it's down at the north end, so I'm thinking it's a lower oxygen, higher moisture content type grass. Because up until I started healing my grass, my soil, that end of my pasture, every time we got a decent rain, basically became submerged. I had hundreds, if not thousands, of earthworms that would drown every time we got 2 inches of rain. Now that the soil is starting to get organics in it and starting to heal, it's not nearly the problem. I do have better water percolation or permeability. Permeability is the ability of the liquids or the water to flow through the soils. If you've ever been to the beach when it rained, the water just disappears because the water just flows between the sand granules and disappears. But if you dig it up, it's only wet down about 2 or 3 inches because there is so much open space between the grains, and the water can flow so freely. It doesn't flow anywhere. It just kind of sits there. So the top couple inches get wet and the rest of it stays dry. With clay, you'll still have about 50% porosity, but it's like sheets of paper, one on top of the other. Instead of being like a sponge that'll absorb the water, with clay, the clay mica crystals act like sheets of paper. They're flat, planar sheets. And so the water just sits on there and it can't go anywhere. In fact, 100 years ago, when they made the first oven windows, they were made out of what they call muscovite, which is a clear or slightly smoky colored clay mineral. Anyway, just a little bit of trivia. But I also wanted to turn around here and show you this. Look at Miss Lucy. She is sitting behind a tuft of fescue, and the strands of the fescue come almost all the way up to my knee, and she's directly downwind, and she's sitting where she's out of the wind and in the sun. And I remember we used to do that when we were kids. We had a low spot in our yard, and we'd lay down in that low spot where the sun would hit us in the wintertime, and we'd stay snuggy warm. So she hears me talking about her, I guess. Yeah, you hear me talking about you, Miss Lucy? You gonna say hi to all the guys on YouTube? I'm the queen. But she loves to come out here and she eats voles and chases field mice and whatever. She doesn't mess with the chickens too much because the roosters will chase her if she does. But she'd been sitting there for 20 minutes. She may be getting too warm now. But the sun is warming things up, so my hands aren't totally numb. But that's what we got on the game plan for today. I did also want to share, I had gotten a hold of some supplemental feed. I generally am never going to feed supplementals to my sheep unless I have to. But we are expecting a crazy cold winter, and daughter 2471 is bred, and here in another couple of weeks she's going to be in her last trimester, so she's going to need a lot more energy, and so I got what I could, which was some sweet feed. But when you switch back and forth between grains and forage, it changes the microbiome in their rumen. And so actually up to this point, Mama has been the one that's eaten most of the grain feed, and I know that's what she had over at Dr. Kent's. They forage, but they also feed, and I had not given them any feed, and their poop was getting a lot firmer, more pellets, and then it was kind of soft when they came over here, and then we had some real cold and real wet weather, and Mama wasn't foraging too well, and she had dropped from a 3 to a 2 in terms of body condition, and I was a little concerned. So I got some sweet feed, and she went after the sweet feed pretty good, and she ended up with some really loose poop. It was almost the consistency of a pumpkin pie filling, which is what you would expect from a cow, not from a sheep. So so I've dialed back on that. I gave her a little bit more than I probably should have, and that kind of loosened things up and gave her an upset tummy. So this morning I brought some more sweet feed out. She wasn't grazing, and I just gave her a handful or so, and then she went back out and grazed. Now she's still over there, and daughter has come over here, and I've got a bucket of sweet feed over here, And I'll probably extend it to daughter if she wants some. What I'll probably actually do is, let me do that right now. Let me see if I can do that without Mama coming over. I've got the bucket right over here. Let's see if we can get daughter to do a little of multi-species sweet feed. Did you want a little bit of this? Yeah. Mama's gotten up. She may come over. We'll see if we can get a little bit to daughter first. You want some, daughter? Better eat it if you want some. You want some, daughter? If you don't want any, I'm going to pull it back out because I don't want Mama to get any. Okay. So, daughter's not eating it for whatever reason. But Mama's on her way over to the gate. She's going to come back over here and she's going to be disappointed. Oh well. So, whoops. I almost stepped on Miss Lucy, our supervisor. So with that, gang, I will set this bucket back down where she can't really see it. And there isn't any, Mama. No, Mama. No point in running over here. There's not. The bucket's empty. No. What I may do later, in fact, I may do it now, since they're both in the sheepfold. I may go ahead and close this gate here on this end of the fold and open this gate over here at this end of the fold. And why, you ask? Well, I want to set up this fencing, and if I open this side, that'll give them access to that area over here while I'm putting up this fencing. So with that, gang, I think that's what I'm going to do if I can get around there before they get out. In the meantime, I will wish you blessings for the day, and whatever you do, just keep chasing the dream.